You stand at the head of a quiet boardroom. You click to the next slide, open your mouth, and realize your mind is completely blank. Your heart rate spikes. You immediately break eye contact with the executive team and start frantically shuffling through a stack of printed notes, desperate for a familiar sentence. Trying to memorize a script word for word puts immense pressure on your working memory. When one single word drops out, the entire sequence collapses, actively destroying your public speaking confidence. This happens because the brain struggles to retrieve exact strings of text while simultaneously managing the physical stress of being watched. That freezing sensation isn't a lack of talent. It is the predictable result of overtaxing your cognitive system. Staring down at heavily worded notes physically disconnects you from the room. You stop reading the audience's reactions, and they stop seeing you as the authority. Modern leadership roles increasingly demand note-free speaking. It has become a prerequisite for demonstrating that you own the material, rather than just repeating it. The professionals who speak effortlessly for 20 minutes are not relying on a photographic memory. They have upgraded to a better cognitive system. Shifting from a script-based mindset to a systems-based mindset is the transition that moves a presenter from an anxious beginner to a confident executive. A beginner tries to memorize exact sentences. An executive memorizes the narrative flow. This diagram maps out the four-part story structure framework. It moves sequentially through a hook, the problem, the solution, and finally the action. The hook grabs attention. The problem establishes why the issue matters to the board. The solution offers the fix, and the action dictates what the company needs to do next. Because this progression relies on a logical sequence rather than rote memorization, you cannot get entirely lost. Even if you forget a specific sentence, the underlying structure forces you to keep moving forward. To manage the specific details within those four phases, you rely on anchor points. This visual memory map shows how you can swap 500 words of heavy text for 5 to 7 executive triggers. You compress that text down to isolated cues, like an opening idea, a key piece of data, and a closing action. Clearing out the mental clutter of hundreds of exact words gives your brain the processing power to actually engage with the room. This reduction in cognitive load is what frees up your natural communication skills to shine through. If you are learning strategies that will drive your corporate success, take a second to subscribe, like, and share this video. Reading your slides quietly at your desk does nothing to prepare your vocal cords or your breathing for the actual delivery. Silent reading builds zero speaking confidence. Current coaching research suggests a 3-round simulation to bridge the gap between reading and performing. Recording yourself once for content flow, once for body language, and once for timing, you create a feedback loop that identifies filler words and pacing issues before you reach the stage. But even with perfect practice, standing under the spotlight triggers an automatic adrenaline response. You need a mechanical way to override that physical panic. This breathing cycle chart illustrates the 4-4-4 technique. You inhale for 4 seconds, hold that breath steady for 4 seconds, and then smoothly exhale for 4 seconds to actively lower your heart rate and steady your voice. Regulating your oxygen intake forces your nervous system to calm down. It transforms unpredictable nervous energy into a powerful, grounded physical presence. Once the structural and physical systems are firmly in place, senior leaders focus on the advanced micro-behaviors of business speaking. Rather than rushing to fill dead air with filler words, they weaponize silence. Holding a strategic pause forces the audience to lean in and projects absolute control over the room. They also weave data storytelling directly into their anchor points, delivering complex metrics and statistics while maintaining unbroken eye contact with the board. Combining those deliberate silences with data fluency and an open posture creates an overarching executive presence that effortlessly commands the room. To lock this in, let's review the 4 pillars of note-free speaking. Pillar 1. Think in structural stories, not written scripts. Pillar 2. Compress your details into a few key anchor points instead of full notes. Pillar 3. Practice out loud until the flow is natural. And Pillar 4. Use regulated breathing to conquer your physical nerves. Here is your challenge. In your very next meeting, throw away the written script and attempt a completely note-free delivery. Elite presentation skills are built through reliable systems, not born.